All right, just waiting on one request. One request. Where is he? All right. What's going on, everybody? So, where's this second request? All right. So, what's going on? Tonight, shout out to the people who are chilling in their house on a Friday night, my fellow homebodies. I see you. What's up? It's okay to stay at home. There's nothing wrong with it. I'm all for it. But anyways, if you're like me, sometimes I have to hop on these lives to just vent my thoughts, just get them out there, and waiting for someone to join me because tonight's topic is interdimensional travel. Now, as you can see on my last video, not 2 videos ago, I guess, I talked about how I was able to travel within a dream. So, a little backstory before he comes on. I was about 20 years ago, so to say, this was like the early 2000s. I thought that my grandmother's house was haunted. She lived in this really, it wasn't even a creepy house. She just had a really creepy doll room. And the doll room, yes, astral projection travel. The doll room was, I feel like these porcelain dolls held their own form of energy, and the energy, it kind of like it manifested in a way, and I felt it. So trying to come through. Um, so, anyways, the energy from that doll room, I felt it in a way, and the like one night I went to go use the bathroom, and this figure was standing outside in the hallway, and I saw it, and I immediately ran back to my room to hide, like under the blankets, because the blankets are always that safe space. Like we all think that, like, oh, okay, no monsters or anything can penetrate. Now, fast forward to 2020, I feel like that was when a lot of us had a form of illuminating moments. Like 2020, the vision, we are all able to see. That was when a lot of us went through these spiritual awakening moments. And I just randomly had a dream. It just felt like a normal dream. I had a dream that I was back in my grandmother's house, and I was standing in the exact same spot as that shadowy figure. But the only difference was this time I was the shadowy figure watching my young self go back into the other room. Now, to me, that meant 2 things. Like, I was like comforted in a way because I was like, oh, okay, that was me that entire time. That was my future self going back to my past self to comfort me. And somebody asked me, like, what did you immediately think when you woke up? And my first thought was, we create our own demons. We are our own worst enemy, because I remember as I was younger, and before it happened, I was like, I just hope something's not out there. Like, in a way, I was manifesting this figure. I manifested out there, and now I look back at that experience and I see that, oh, the whole time it was me. So I think that one of my good friends, we're joining now, and is he joining? I don't
Yeah,
really.
I'm trying to. Is it is it letting me? Hold on. Yo,
What's going on? I think you're on. I see your like icon, but it's not. There you go.
yo,
What's going on, man?
chilling, chilling. Hold on one sec. I'm getting this a little more comfortably situated here. What up, dude?
What's up? Where are you? Like, what time zone are you in?
I'm in Washington State right now, so it's 6:31
Okay.
p.m.
How far are you from Seattle?
Like a ferry right away. Yeah, It's like right across the water. Yeah.
I'm trying to make it out there, but my family that's out there is trying to. They say like the best time to go is like between like August and September, that because it's rainy and then it gets cold. Like,
Yeah, for sure. It's really rainy here and super cold a lot of the time. But the rain is like it's actually like warmer out when it's raining. So that's pretty cool, you know.
yeah, I'm
But
definitely gonna have to make it out there. Like that.
yeah,
That definitely seems like a vibe. See,
yeah, yeah. So like one of the things I wanted to chat, you know how you were just saying that story, right, about your grandma, right?
right.
So I've had a similar experience where but I haven't gone back yet. This is what I'm like, it's interesting. Like I was sitting in my room and I like could feel like the shadowy figure over there. But like, so I've had some other experiences too since then that I want to talk about with you that I feel like you'll be really interested in
I'm
since
all
then
here.
and everything. Yeah. And so I'm just pretty much like, I'm starting to like see like what's happening and everything. So yeah, I'm kind of uh, excited. Yeah.
So yeah, let's
Um,
go ahead and share your first experience because I know
yeah,
you.
yeah. So like this is because you've been interviewing a lot of people who have had experiences with DMT and everything, and so I've had an experience and like I didn't even realize like that's what it was like until like way down the way because I didn't even know what that was,
Right.
really. I was like born and raised Christian and like never really like taken out of that like for a long, long time. And then I started, I don't know, like everything kind of like fell apart all at the same time. And I got in the spiritual path, like went full on vegan. And then um, I started doing yoga every day for like 3 or so years. But yeah, so like it was in this big transformation. I got a divorce at the same time, and I was going through a child custody battle and all this stuff. It was all like really intense. And I like lost my job. I used to work for the government in a nuclear facility.
Hmm.
Yeah. And like I was like forced into a resignation because of like the divorce. And like all of a sudden I was like hit with this debt and they're like, oh, you're a liability now or like whatever, So I got let go from that. And in the midst of all that, I had just kind of started smoking weed again. And that's when I had the first experience with the shadow. And what I'm kind of now realizing is like, our feeling is that I may be traveling back there soon to like, you know, make that happen in reality or whatever. But so as I was in this little apartment, right, I was like sitting at the door of my house. I hadn't smoked any weed or anything like, and I'd been going through all the stuff in my head about like religion and all that stuff, and like kind of expanding my mind a lot, and like I took 3 deep breaths as I was like sitting at my door, and I was like, and like all of a sudden, like the sky, it was like I saw like little flickers of light, like angels, kind of. That's what I thought it was. It's like angels just shooting across the sky, like all over in the blue and everything. And so I kept breathing into it, and I was like, like, and then it was like everything, like it was still a picture, but I didn't recognize it as a picture. It was all like numbers, and I was like, oh, it's perfect. And then I took like my third deep breath, and then I just like start like my whole body just like threw back, and I like my fingers were doing like all these weird things, and like I couldn't control my body from the neck down, and like it was really strange, but it felt amazing. It felt so good. Like my body was like feeling so good, right? Um, and then it shot me like to this. It was like outer space, inner space. It was like a torus field. It was just a big, huge fucking torus field, and like, but it was me though, and it was like everything though, like everything that was like, and it was like it looked like this huge just donut kind of thing in like the midst of this black space, like and I could feel like two energies flowing, and like I was completely in one, and I felt the other one like flowing next to me, and we were both kind of like going in this figure eight, kind of like toroidal. We were in it, you know, and like it took me a while to like realize like that ended up also being me and my energy too, but like that's a whole nother part of the story. But like yeah, so like it, I was. I was in this like plane, right? And then I come back into my body and my voice just starts talking and I'm like, I am God, I am the devil, I am. And then it was like you see, you see, you see. And like and then it was like I started like crying out for like Eve. I was like it was really, really strange. Like it was like I felt like I was Adam, you know? And I was like calling out for Eve, which is really interesting now because knowing what a toroidal field is, it's created by an atom. You know what I mean? And like crying out for Eve and thinking that that other part wasn't me. You know what I mean? Like it was really, really interesting and amazing experience, like full on awesomeness. And like, I'm starting to realize that like that's what it was, is like a burst of DMT, you know, that's like just shot me to this other plane and like all this realization of like time and space and everything, you know? Yeah. So that's one of the things I wanted to share with you about. So
Well, no, that's actually an amazing experience because it's like I remember you said, I am." Like that's what God
yeah,
simply says. Who is God? I am. Like
right,
all
right,
are one. We are all connected, and
right.
it's like you were connecting the divine masculine and divine feminine parts of
Uh-huh.
like, that balance, and then
Yeah,
magnets, polar opposites, the yin and yang, So that experience alone, and it came to you in a moment of your life that was kind of in turmoil, like the loss of the job,
right,
the loss of the
right.
other.
Yeah. It
You're
made me very, very quiet for like so long because I was like, I'd had another like crazy seeming experience like 12 or 13 years ago. And like I had spoken out about it and like everybody around me called me crazy and like it felt really shitty, you know? And like I kind of like went inward and stopped sharing myself, you know? Like and then I had this experience as everything's falling apart and like I'm getting skinnier because I'm like vegan, you know, like and everybody's all like, "You look like you're on drugs." So then I'm like, and then I'm like, how is this gonna sound when I start saying these things that like just happen, you know? Like, so it's been like this whole unfolding of like leaning into fear and like actually being able to share this, you know?
no, I
Yeah,
really with the whole week. My metabolism super fast, and I noticed like when I started eating meat, I kind of just the weight just lost. I was just shit.
right,
I'm
dude,
like,
it dropped off so fast.
it did, and right now I feel like I'm in a point in my life where I'm comfortable where I'm at, like internally, and I think that radiates externally where
Yeah,
really care about my outer image because my inner image is going to shine more. Where I I don't like I'm just at just a comfortable place where I don't eat because I I don't eat the normal 3 meals a day. I guess I fast.
right.
I just eat when my body tells me it's hungry.
Yeah,
And
that's where I'm at too now. It's gotten to this whole like kind of just intuitive thing now, you know?
and
But
I think that's what a lot of us need to do is just naturally listen to our body. Your body literally
mhm,
tells you all the answers, not just with
yeah,
like spiritually, but just in general in a physical form. Your body's going to give you signs. Like I remember when I was younger, I was never a big meat eater from the jump, where I
mhm,
just didn't like pork. I didn't like all that unhealthy stuff. And I noticed like with people who have done these ayahuasca trips, they say they abstain from meat, they abstain
mhm,
from alcohol, and they abstain from sex. And this is like naturally stuff that I naturally did not like, the meat and alcohol. Like alcohol, all my friends like they indulge in it, and it's just not my thing. Where
yeah,
I'll occasionally drink, but it's like sips of wine or rosé, but it's so in moderation. And I'm not saying like for people to completely cut out and like stop eating meat, because some people need to eat meat. Like like a diet's like a paintbrush. Like what? Well, a diet all this stuff, what works for you isn't going to work for another person, you know?
Right. Yeah. Everybody's different, and everybody's perspective is valid, you
R-
know? It's like for real, like, because we've been through our own experiences, and so like, and we see things our own way because we've translated everything that's ever been given to us through our lens. And so
Right.
like, what's true for me is true for me, like, and what's true for you is true for you, and it's valid and understandable. And
And
I think like that's the disconnect that we're seeing is like, you know nobody's like allowing the validation of the other experience.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think everyone's spiritual journey is different. It's your journey. That's why it's like
Hmm.
what you have to go through. And I'm not one to like debate, oh, you didn't see this, you didn't see
Right.
that, or you didn't see this. This is what you are supposed to learn during this journey. So each
Yeah.
trip or each lesson from what I'm conducting is meant for that person. But I also know that like even though everyone has their different journeys, like there's still a lesson that you might need to learn, because I've learned so much about myself through other people. That's why
Right.
other people's experiences or their trips, like I've found out so much, and I just love doing these particular interviews. So you had
Yeah.
a experience, right, if I'm not mistaken, that you wanted to share?
Um, not near death. It was just that one. But like, why don't I share the experience like 12 years ago?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that was a very interesting experience. And that was like, that has to do with like, I was like in the middle of my kind of Christian era. Um, and basically, though, I manifested this whole experience and exchange with the devil, basically. And the devil was asking me to sell my soul
Mm,
through the radio and in the form of a spider. It was very, very interesting. You're frozen though, bro.
I am.
Yeah, in
Oh,
my screen.
that's I. You're not frozen. Okay.
Okay,
I was gonna say like everybody. I still see people's interactions and
cool.
um comments are coming in. Like I remember you said, like I got your message about the spider, and I
Yeah,
that maybe my face was frozen. I was just like, oh, a
it's
spider.
still frozen right now, but it's cool though. But yeah. So like just before that experience, I had like basically like time froze. I had just taken a shower and I came into my room and I was like standing there looking up just at the corner of the wall and I like turned around and it had been 20 minutes since I like walked into the room and it felt like 20 seconds and I was like immediately like, whoa, this is weird. And so I like went and sat down on my bed and then like a spider comes down from the ceiling right in front of me. It was like right here. And then immediately the radio next to me just turns on and it goes, I am the devil. And like it was like, you know how like if you could imagine like skipping through stations and stuff to create words,
Yeah, that's
like
that.
out of the actual songs and everything that was playing. That's
Right.
kind of what it was doing. And it was like, I'll give you money, fame, power, and like, all the things, but you'll just have to lose one person that you love. And I was like, immediately, like, my mom flashed in my head. And I was like, I love my mom. And I also have this tattoo right here on my middle finger. And it says for the beast. And so I was kind of like,
Like fuck
this,
you.
I know what my choice is with you, bitch, kind of, like, and so I gave him the bird and I like took this, I saw a box in the corner of my closet and I went and I grabbed it and I put him in the box. And on the barcode of the box, the last three digits were 666. And then I walked outside and I like let him go in the yard. But that was that experience. And
Yeah,
so like I had talked about that openly after it happened because I was like just completely dumbfounded, bewildered, like wow, like in shock. Um and my whole family just like was like you know um
You
Yeah.
talk about 666, like, and I try to like really reiterate as far as these angel numbers, like people fear 666, and I
Right. They should not be afraid of that.
that 666 is more of a reminder for you to reflect about yourself. Like we are carbon beings, and you look at these things like you look at the elements, like we us carbon beings, like 666 is a reminder that you are acting to carbon. You're giving into these earthly urges like money, greed, power. So it
Yeah.
mark of the beast, your lowest
Right.
self. And that is what 666 comes into your life as a reminder.
Satan is not us, not us. You
Right.
know, it's
You're
like the most disconnected point of us.
right.
You know, but it
You're
is us though, and like that's all we like need really to keep the energy flowing is to like see it and love it, and then allow it to flow through, right? And
right.
then equilibrium, balance.
Now you brought up an also an interesting point because the same thing. Like I grew up in a predominantly Christian household, Christian family, and I was like raised on that. And like when I kind of feel like I deviated from it, and I don't want to say like deviated and left Christianity, like I
Right.
see all religions now, and I see how they are all connected. When
Yeah.
I feel like at first I was like only seeing just from right here, just seeing such a little vision of because there were so many missing pieces and so many things I didn't have the answer to. And then I started
Hmm.
looking into other religions and what predates Christianity. And then I'm like, oh, so this is kind of starting to make sense. And
Right.
I
Yeah. When I heard that like Hinduism and stuff like that is more like all the deities are just kind of like um ways of consciousness interacting, and like parts of your it's like metaphors for yourself and everything, and then that's when everything else started to click, like, oh, there's like even Christianity is like a metaphor for the way that we like bring the Christ oil up the spine, like in the birth of Jesus in the sacral, or I mean the the sacral, every 33 days, and how we can like take that energy, like in the birth of the Christ within us, and we can you know, nurture that energy through us, instead of like blowing it out. And that's how we like can bring Christ to the crucifixion, which is not death; it's a magnification of 1,000 times. You know?
right. So
Yeah.
you know what I want you to hit on for the people of the live, because I feel like I don't know what's going on with TikTok, but I feel like a lot of these social media platforms truly suppress certain knowledge. And you replied to my video about um the sort of astral time traveling, and you
Right. Yeah.
down into a way that I think more people should hear. So if you could just reiterate that, and we can have a conversation on that, because I had so many things I wanted to say to that, and I was just like replying, but in message form. But I'm more
Yeah. What
message.
what exactly did I say?
What video you?
I remember the comment because it's been like a bunch of people keep liking it.
Yeah. Because I remember I was talking about you said you had a video to explain why that happens, and you were like how
Yeah. Oh,
ex-
you want me to explain how it happens? Okay.
yeah, right,
Okay. Yeah. Okay. And how we're all like how we all can be, like, or how God can be in all of us at the same time.
right,
Right.
right,
Yeah. Okay. So imagine that toroidal field, right? This is just like my like and then imagine like there's a black hole right here, and then there's a black hole like right here, right? And like there's all the chakras in between it. Okay. And like, so how it can work, right? Say also in the middle of that black hole is all of time, right? And outside of that black hole is no time, like out of the dimension of time, right? So like it would travel into the funnel of time, right? And like all of time. So like say God goes through, right? And is lives in one body, right? God's made this entire creation, right? And God lives through one body and then comes out, and then lives through another one interacting with the first one, right? And then comes out and then lives through another one interacting with the next one, like, and then continues to go through until everybody is able to remember. You know
Right.
what I mean? Yeah. Does
Yeah,
that make
it
sense for everybody?
reminded me of like the egg theory, like where you have to essentially live through you have to live through every living organism, see through all lives to truly become an omnipotent God, all seeing God. Because you
Hmm.
live through everything, you've seen through everything. And
Yeah.
like that's what that was reminding me of. And as far as like how somebody commented, like time is not real. And I,
Right. It's not. Here, like, think about this, okay? Everything is sound and light, right?
right,
Like energy, frequency, vibration, right? Sound and light. And so, like, if you think about it, that means like time is also sound and light, but just different frequencies. And so, like, if you think about it, like, um, everything has its own, like, kind of uh, definitive, like, marker within that sound somewhere, And so, like, depending on all the sounds that are like right there, those are going to be the like ones that are seen. Does that make sense? Is this making sense?
it's
Um, so like, um, so like basically, as we go through time, each moment in time has its own like frequency based timestamp, right? And
right,
so like when you live through a time within that string that is God, like the one gold string that goes through everybody, um, if every moment in time and every person in time, like there's a timestamp for that, there's a frequency for that. And so like when we connect law of one, and we're able to like realize that we are we, like then we can go into the different we's, back then that's where you would get like memories from like past lives and things like that. Does that make sense?
yeah, because this is the veil of forgetting. Like this
Yeah.
third veil, like we come back here to remember, but also like we forget, if that makes,
Hmm.
like we're this veil is where it's like I think they said it's like a 70,000 year incarnation cycle where we're constantly incarnating, living these lives and trying to have a human experience. Like we are divine beings having this temporary human experience. And we go on and take those lessons and move it on to the next density to keep on. It's just consciousness is just trying to constantly evolve. And I
Yeah.
that's
It's like a spiral upward, but it gets like bigger around too, like because it's like or I mean, I guess it's like it's like the one small point is just getting higher, I guess maybe
right.
in a way. And then like right here is where you're understanding, moving up to understanding, like, and then overstanding. Like we do that constantly with everything. Like so I go through one relationship in life, and I'm understanding it, and like and then it breaks apart or whatever, right? And then we get to come back around, and like we start to have those emotional like we feel the frequencies again of those, or like and it triggers the remembrances and everything, and like we start to reflect, right, and look at it from a higher perspective, and
Right.
like understand what was happening right with that situation, while another situation is popping up that we're just gaining understanding for. But so then we move up and we've got an overstanding then, like after gaining the understanding of the first one. And then we're like starting to understand the next one, but we're doing this like with every single thing. You know what I mean? And
Right.
we just come back around to it, and we start to see it from a more expanded, perspective, you know?
I and this is what I enjoy about these interviews and my own personal experience, because what I've learned from it all is we are all like time moves simultaneously and
Yeah.
all happening at once. And
Mhm.
I've seen if for my own personal experience with my past life regression, I was able to stand in one point and see every single life I have ever lit. Well, not every life. I saw 5 different lives simultaneously happen, and I was able to like access that particular life like a memory. Like it was
Yeah,
hang out in different pictures. And then
yeah,
what the Akasha was trying to show me were the lives that needed healing, because it was a form of shadow work where it was like you came in incarnate. This was why this energy presented itself in your life for this reason, and this is what you need to heal. It was as if it was a form of healing. Like it only showed me the 2 lives, even though there were multiple lives going on. It was
right.
literally highlighted the lives that needed to be healed, to why this trauma is manifesting in my life this way. Like, for example, money was an issue. One of my lives, I was killed over money. So it was just like, this is why money manifests, why it's a trigger point for you, because you
Yeah,
need. And once I learned that, it was almost as if it was like an aha moment where it was like, oh, at the end of the day, money doesn't matter. All of the
yeah,
materialistic things, these fake monetary value things, don't matter. It at the end of the day. So it's like I need to like learn what like the stuff where I said earlier with 666. It's like you
yeah,
need to stop connecting to what makes you human, because that
yeah,
just you back into this matrix. This because you're not learning. You're like now I feel like these psychedelics or whatever, they are like cheat codes to making you understand or understand
mhm.
cosmic consciousness, this cosmic knowledge. Because as you have cosmic knowledge, there's nothing that no earthly teacher can teach you. You know, they may be
Yeah. We're organic beings, you know, like, and if everything is and like sound, frequency, vibration, like the earth is a part of us, you know, like we come from the earth, you know, like, and so it's important to be connected to that, and like it all has its own consciousness. Like every single thought in your head is not like you, it's like another entity, if you want to like think about it, or it's another entity level of yourself, you know, another entity's perspective of yourself, you know. But like if you can disconnect from all those things when you realize like these thoughts won't even live if you don't feed them too, you know.
right. Your highest self, I feel like, is always
Yeah,
guiding to
yeah.
your best self at this.
You know, and we are our past selves highest self. And this also, like, I wanted to like touch on something after when you were speaking, like so whenever we access a memory, right, we are like going inside of our DNA where it's been recorded, you know. We're going back through that string, you know, because everything exists right now. And like when we are able to use our imaginations to like, you know, to like come to peace with that situation, to like move through that situation, when we go back and like rewrite the past and everything, like it's literally like you have just like severed the frequency right there of that trauma going forward anywhere. So then that weight from that had rippled out from you to the entirety of the collective, that entirety of that weight from that what you just did just by going in through memory is gone. You know, you like literally we go back and we erase it from our own DNA. And like that's what we do for the collective too, because when we erase it for us, we erase it for them, you know?
You're healing ancestral wounds, healing
Yeah.
ancestral trauma. And speaking of DNA or whatnot, I know, well, I've talked about this before, but as of January, there were solar flares that happened. Like in these light codes, these light are activating that latent DNA within us. So in
Yeah.
you think of us as computers, we are literally getting upgrades as far and connecting back to our.
Right.
We're receiving this etheric knowledge through our DNA. Our
Mhm.
DNA becoming activated. So a lot of uh a lot of the stuff that we don't think we're capable of, like say we're supposed to be following source. Like I just posted a video about how the woman had her DMT experience and she
Yeah.
cosmic knowledge of how she's supposed to her purpose on this planet is like coming here and singing. So
Yeah, I've had that same, like when I was watching that video, like that's why I was like, yo, we need to chat, bro. like
like
I'm in the middle of this right now.
so, and let's just say going back to religion, we are made in the creator's image, right?
Yeah.
Are
Like
supposed
image in nations, right?
right,
Image in nations. Like it's all, like honestly, like every single thing that is physical is created by the luminiferous non-physical ether,
right.
you know? And so like nothing physical is actually real. Like
Let me
um
stand by. I got reminded me of something that
it's
I
like to lie, right?
all right.
But
I don't have a screen share, but like take see if this image can kind of pop up, and it's literally talking about what we are talking about. Um,
yeah, I don't know if I'll be able to see it. You're still frozen on my screen from like
oh, am what
30,
the
20 minutes ago or whatever.
oh well, believe it or not, like it's still. I think when we replay it live, it'll see that it'll
Yeah,
show
for sure. It's,
um
I don't know. It's funny. I mean,
it's like a
it's chill. Yeah.
conversation at this point. But what I wanted to talk about is I went to this Russell experience where Dr. Russell had a near death experience, and then after that, he was having grand illuminating moments. And this man had a fourth grade education, and he became one of the greatest architects, greatest scientists, greatest authors. Uh,
Yeah.
he was pretty much flowing with the universe, what he called God. And it said that like God essentially like he wrote the universal one, which Nikola Tesla reached out to him and was like, you need to put this book away because mankind isn't ready for this. And
Yeah.
some teachings, like he talked about how the undivided white light of the universal God mind. So God is the universe of space, and his luminous binding white light, which no eyes can see, illuminates alone. So there's centers of consciousness created in the pineal glands, the uh,
Hmm.
mind's eye. I don't know if they could see because my hair is growing, but the mind's eye. So the God white-minded light is dark to man until he divides into spectrum pairs of red and blue lights to the screen. The white lights
Hmm.
on which centers the universe. Everything is created. So um,
Yeah.
um, when man's senses are two waves of limited frequencies, they do not respond to the vibration below or above a very limited range. So literally, frequencies, vibrations. Man
Yeah.
can extend his range of sense vision by a telescope or microscope by his senses, but it cannot go beyond the spectrum into the mind cause. So it's literally saying how us humans going back into the solar flares, how we can't see beyond the mind's eye because we don't believe it's there. We don't know our own potential. We can't tap in yet, but we are getting these light codes, these upgrades to be able to tap in to these secrets of the universe. So
Yeah.
every other
Tapping
day,
back in. Like,
right,
so if you think about it, like, right, and in the things that I've explained, like, or the you know, like every single past civilization was us, you
right.
know? And so like all of that beautiful architecture, all of those different things, like we've been there, it's like a circle, right?
We we regressed as a civilization in human technology regressed, and I blame greed and ego because certain people wanted to keep this knowledge to themselves, and because of that greed, we we went backwards and regressed as a species. Like on
Well,
we
so here I like to think of it like this, right? It says the first shall be last and the last shall be first, right? And like what does that mean, right? Like the first ones who gain the secret, are going to be the last ones to realize it. And who has had the secret knowledge this whole time? Like why are we where we are? Like as like us kind of coming out of the rubble like of this like slave planet kind of thing, like and discovering what they've been up to the whole time.
right.
and like discovering the divine knowledge for ourselves, and like we are realizing it first, right? And then our realization brings it to, it will bring a tipping point to where they will realize, through us just tuning inward and like aligning with our soul's purpose and who we're made to be.
And we are shifting into this new age, and this new age of enlightenment, the age of enlightenment, and we're seeing through the through the veil of the lies of the last age, so we moved out of the age of Pisces to into Aquarius. And with the age of Pisces, you see, like, okay, religion was a ruler, but I'm not knocking religion, because
Right. It
they
was a tool, right? It was a tool.
used for
Like, I
and
mean, I know that like all the secrets were hidden in it, right?
right. You,
Yeah.
you know what's weird? I was randomly watching Rick and Morty the other day, and just to
Mhm.
piggyback on that point, where there was this one episode where these giant heads came and they were hosting
Hold
like
on, buddy.
intergalactic musical challenge where they were destroying planets if they didn't go along with the singing. They were like, whatever planet sings the best won't get destroyed. So when they came to Earth, they the people worshiped them as gods, like, and they were
Mhm.
controlling people who were worshiping like these heads, and they were like deciding who gets killed and who gets sent up. But these were just heads for a music competition, like, and that people like use for control. So it's just,
Mhm.
that's like one of those perfect examples of how we let religion control, and we don't really use the tools that is in religion. Because what is the Bible? It's so, quote unquote, the basic instructions before leaving Earth. But I think
Yeah.
it's just the wrong way. And you look at like the other religions, you look at the Bhagavad Gita, you see how
Yeah.
explain the transfer, like, of consciousness, like in the ascension process, the reincarnation cycle. It's just like, geez, like there's more to us than just this physical body.
Yeah.
Like, it's pretty. I feel like I could talk
We
about
can
this.
only we can only see so much.
Yeah,
Like it's what is it like 96 point something percent of like light we can't see, and like um it makes me think like all the colors that we can't see, like if you could think of smell like having a color, it's just a frequency that you can't see, right? But
right.
it totally has a color if you think about it. Every single smell has a different color that we just can't see. It's just in a frequency that we're not able to see yet, you
Yeah,
know?
perfect sense. I think that concept goes over like a lot of people's head, but I feel as if science is finally starting to catch up with certain religions, and they're starting to explain it in a scientific aspect, but they're literally describing the same thing as what Hinduism is talking about, with these different fields, how these different dimensions work, and what we would describe like, Interstellar is a great example of a movie that talks about these different dimensions, and how we did what the tesseract is what they use, how they use
Hmm.
that to communicate with their past selves. But Hinduism talks about this, how their deities would stand, like what I explained earlier, how they would stand in one place and see all these different timelines playing out, essentially like the tesseract. Like, that's,
Hmm.
they just made it in a scientific aspect of showing what these religions are talking about.
Hmm.
And
And like I mean, think about this. Like right now, like um, the future is happening right now. It's just on a different frequency.
it is.
It's not about time. It's just on a different frequency. You know.
And you have a lot of people that are like, that ask, like, how do I tap into these different frequencies? How do I like raise my vibration? And I'm just like, first of all, all starts within you. Like, there's something within you have to go through before you experience whatever it is you need to experience. For like, if people who aren't ready for certain teachings, when they get to, if they do take a psychedelic and it's too early and they didn't do the shadow work beforehand, they're going to see some things they don't want to see, and they're not going to get to that other place. It's going to be quote unquote a bad trip because
Yeah.
they do the work. That's why when they do these ayahuasca or DMT or whatever, they prep you for it. They tell you
Yeah.
don't get these low vibrational thoughts, don't indulge in alcohol, sex, what else? Don't eat meat. Like, they do all these things so people can be prepared, but that's just a minor part of preparing. It also
Mhm.
takes, you already have to know within yourself, like what your demons are, what are your inner demon
Right.
shadows are. But you have to, I feel like shadow work is the first part to the ascension process. I mean,
It's a
meditation.
big part for sure. Shadow work is the two-dimensional like thoughts, you know? Like if you think about it, like you're going down to that level of consciousness. Like the consciousness, like the frequency of it is there, you know?
Right. You have to go.
And then you're going down into that two-dimensional like shadow, two-dimensional as you're not looking at it from all sides, right?
Right.
Or looking at it from an expanded perspective,
Exactly. So,
failing to see the color.
am I still frozen?
Yeah, dude.
Wow, that's
It's cool. I'm not tripping.
no,
I'm
no.
I'm having a good conversation with you,
Yeah,
enjoying it.
these are the conversations that, like, I feel like these type of conversations kind of get you in like a time portal, like in itself, like you're going
Oh
through
yeah.
other dimensions because you're just
Think okay, so I have another thing. I was talking about a buddy the other day, right? And like we've been tricked into focusing minute by minute. If you think about it, like you could probably break time down into the trillisecond, right? And like if you're like present and you're not looking at the clock, flipping minutes, you know,
right,
like time seems to move like it feels like it's slower, right? But then you look back and it felt like faster kind of, right? And if
right,
you think about it, it's because you're like shrinking yourself within time. Like
yeah,
you're shrinking your consciousness within time. They've like inflated our consciousness out to a minute. And like I have a theory is that that's why we don't like get as big as we used to. You know, like we've been like so brought out of the present is that's what they want to do. They want to bring you out of the present, you know? And so the more you dial into the present and the more you stay there, like, I heard there's a quote somewhere. It says like, um, as long as you're present, your best life will manifest by default.
that is an amazing quote because I've literally been preaching this exact same thing for the past few months about being present in the moment. Like, one of the videos I did was time of our lives. How I said, when people think of the clock, they think of there's only of it as it being two hands, that hour and minute hand, but they forget about the seconds hand, and
Right.
that's is literally
Think of
represent.
all the trilliseconds of like information that are contained within that 1 minute, you know? And so the more present you are, it slows it down and you're actually digesting more of the experience and it becomes more full. It fills your spirit, you know?
Yeah, like, it's when you are in the moment, because you don't realize you're in those moments until after they happen. Like, you like, for example, us being kids, like, you look back at that now, like, as a kid, we're like, I can't wait to be older, I can't wait to like,
Right?
and now you look back as an adult, you're like, dang, I wish I was a kid again because I don't have to pay bills, I don't have to do this, I just had to go to school, that was it. Like, and my
Mhm.
parents rest. They Now you're at an adult and you're just like, this sucks. Like,
Yeah. I
adulting.
would say like a lot of that shadow work you're talking about is going back and like working with that child too, you know?
Right, and that's exactly,
'Cause that's in your DNA right there too, you know?
I think that was the lesson within my astral time travel, where it was just going back to my childhood and helping
Hmm.
myself and realizing that my own inner demons was the one who was helping me. Like,
Yeah.
that there's
And
nothing.
every wound puts out a ripple into the universe, right? So when you go back there and you heal that wound, it's like it sucks it all back, right? It takes it away. So you fearing the whole collective of it, you know? That's why
Right.
it's so important to like focus on you, be you, you know, like feel into like what's most authentic, right? For me, like what was I actually made for? Like, and what besides the programming, you know, like what do I actually feel like I want to do with my life, you know? And the more like you tune into that, you know, and the more that like you absorb who you are and allow who you are to like express, the more that like you're in alignment and flow with source, and then everything just, I mean, we're all abundant always, you know. It's just a lot of people tend to be in abundance of negative experiences that they're manifesting. They don't even tend to realize that that's their abundance, you know. That's just what they're manifesting. But like, so the more you tune into that flow and the more you allow, then the more that the true abundance that's actually meant for you, that's not going to teach you all these shitty lessons to learn, you know, like that'll be more fun lessons to learn. That's when that's going to start rolling in, you know?
So let me ask you this. What do you think your purpose is in this particular incarnation? Now that you realize that you are a divine being having a temporary human experience, what do you think your purpose and calling is in this particular lifetime?
That is a great question. I had a vision that like kind of started to light it and show me it. And like at the start of this experience, it was like a week or so after I had the DMT kind of experience, and I was in the toroidal field of everything, you know, and like I was sitting on my bed, and the walls kind of like started vibrating and turning blue and pink, or blue and reddish, you know, like it was. And then the next thing I know, I'm like standing on top of a bus, and it's like this stage kind of thing, like. And like there was a huge crowd of people out, like huge, and we were all in like a wooded area, and there was like tons of buses and vans, and like all these artistic people, and like everybody just in their own true and authentic expression, and like, oh my God, it was beautiful. And I there was somebody next to me, and like uh you know, it all ties in with my whole experience of like not realizing that there was another part of myself. But like I was like, it sent me off on this path, like who is that person next to me, you know, like but I turned to that person and I said like, this was uh our love created this. And then poof, I was back in my room. And then yeah, and so like I feel that my purpose is to like, you know, help people open up into their authentic selves and like dial into like who they were made to be, you know, like, and then nurture the collective within coming back to our organic ways of like connection with the earth too, you know, like bringing it more to a state of true abundance, of source flow abundance for everyone, you know. So that's my vision, is to like create this through my music and art and all sorts of different things. But right after that experience, I started recording music, and I ended up recording 3.5 albums within the span of like 1 year and 3 months or something. And I released the first one on 11/11/2020, and then the third one on 11/11/2021. And all that stuff was like, I dropped the pen and I just started like channeling through each line by line and everything to write everything. And so I feel like, you know, I wanna do that music, and I wanna share my art and all that. And like, so I've been doing some artwork too. I'll show you. Yeah.
So you are literally doing what I said in the beginning, in that last video, how we are all meant to create, and you're like someone hit it the nail on the head. They said you're tapping into that authentic core, and
Yeah.
that's trying to get everybody to do, because this is amazing, and you just flow when you create this, right? Like it just comes.
Yeah, dude. It's the presence, right? Like staying in the presence. Like, and when you're creating, dude, you're fully in it, you know? Like you could be sitting there, like I'll have a show on or something, and I'll be drawing in my own world. It feels like forever, you know? And then it's like a 45-minute episode, and I was like, whoa, you know? But it's because you're digesting more of the experience the more you get present.
Right.
And then you get more energetic nutrients from it, you know, and more abundant nutrients from it, like within your life, start manifesting and everything, you know?
You're tapping into that flow state, and you talk
Yeah.
testing. Like, I always compare, like, if anyone out there is familiar with computer coding and whatnot, like,
Hmm.
or if you think of our minds as like supercomputers, and we're literally coding. Like, when you're coding a computer, you could tell it to make this box a certain color. You can tell it to make it red, and that becomes the reality in that 2D.
Yeah.
You're creating this reality from the 3D, and that's the thing. Like, when we manifest, we're manifesting from a higher plane to create this 3D reality. And that's why,
Hmm.
like with Tesla, where he says, the power of 369, that nine rules this lower realm reality. And
For real.
like,
Yeah.
manifesting is also a way of getting, like, when that was kind of small. I was let me see if I can blow you up kind of to see that image.
So look, this was inspired kind of like that's supposed to be kind of the toroidal field, but like I've been kind of going deeper with the dimensions since then, you know, and starting to see more on my own with my art and everything. And see what I see right here is like it creates a stop sign in the middle of this,
That
and
looks
it's like
Ellen.
that's where our plane is. That's where the plane of physical existence is. And all energy flows through it. That's like the stop sign, right? That's like the like where we go in and out of time, basically.
I like this concept, and then the fact that you express it through art, like this shows that this flow state is definitely connecting you to the divine, to source,
Yeah.
and naturally just creating.
This is see if you can read it right here. It says the perception of all matter is created by the vibration of the non-physical luminiferous ether. And then right here, this is like the sound. This is like the nine or the spinning nine, like the one eye, like and like this is like the line between it and the two energies, like you know that we need to balance within ourselves, you know.
Masculine
But
and feminine.
yeah,
Yeah.
and this right here, I just wrote out "I am" in a really cool way, and like look at it, like it's us. Like there's like our sacral, there's our like heart, and there's the third eye, right? Like the big eye, right? The I am, right? And then like it goes through. There's this is made out of numbers too. Like there's a three right here. This is also an A and an M, right? And it's, if you turn it to the side, it's a seven and a three,
Huh.
sevens and threes. Yeah,
This this is very underrated art. Like, in and art is beautiful in itself because it can be interpreted in so many ways, but it's
right.
the who's their true creator. But that is definitely really a really cool concept to express everything.
Yeah,
So I personally can't see it, like, and
yeah.
I
Okay.
live can see it. So if you can explain it, that would actually help.
Yeah. Here, hold on. Let me go. Let me see if there's one specifically. My phone is at 10% too, though. So
Yeah,
let
what
me see
what
if I can go to one cool one real quick. So let me just show you this one real quick. This is just like this is more of just kind of like me like doodling out stuff. Um, and basically, like I went through all the piano keys because like music is connected to everything, and like it's with all the white keys. Like if you're playing all the white keys, that's called C. That means there's no flats. That means there's no like more sad kind of tones, you know, like the those types of tones and everything. And what's interesting is like when you put your hands on the piano, you put your thumb on middle C. And so it's like your thumb you put it on the third note up. It's not A, you know? And I always thought that was weird. But anyways, so like the A is like the root, right? It's like under the ground, right? And then B is like the sacral, right? That's where we put the seed, right? So it's also under the ground, right? And then C is like the level where we see, you know, like we break out of the ground, you know? And so like that's the connection of like where why the thumb goes there, right? And then it goes to D, E, F, and G. And like I like to associate them with like the chakras, right? So like the first one's the root, and it goes like when it gets to D, it's at the heart, and then E is at the throat, and F is at the third eye, and G is a C with a 7, which I think is very interesting because also I am is makes a 73, and C is the third letter of the alphabet, right? Um, but is it still working right now?
No, no,
Okay, cool,
I think
cool,
everybody all too, as you explain this, like this is
cool.
good.
Yeah, cool. Okay, so like when the seed comes, like Christ is born in the sacral, right? It starts that gold fluid. It starts the Christ oil to come up, right? And that's like mainly our job, right? Is like we move this Christ oil up, and then we like crucify it and multiply it, right? Because crucify is not death; it's multiplying 1,000 times, and then it comes back down, and we carry it down, and our job is to balance the two energies within us, the masculine and the feminine. And like if those energies are not balanced, then you're going to be spilling out the fluids, you know, at one of those chakras because it's like it's blocked because of the imbalance. See how if you're like overdeveloped masculine, you're swinging way out here, underdeveloped feminine, you're in here, and like it's creating this hole for it to just kind of spew out of energetically. And so like all of your life force energy is like draining out of one of those chakras and everything, whichever one you're stuck at, basically. And so like when you're able to balance the two, then you're able to carry that energy all the way through, and it's going to be flowing both ways. Does that make sense?
No, I'm relating myself because I had a point in my life when I had both energies like in a form of imbalance. And now that I
Mm-hmm.
feel they are now complete, like there's a balance within me, I feel like life is different now. Like
Mm-hmm.
I'm
It
project.
is. It's what I've come to like feel is like what I see is that like we're all supposed to just like be the marriage exists within, you know, like that's the main thing. And if you are not don't have a marriage within yourself that's keeping you balanced and flowing and everything like that, you might manifest a relationship that would seem like it's working. And that's because of like you might have an overdeveloped, whereas she might have the opposite, right? And so it seems like the chaotic mess kind of balances, right? And there, you could go a long time and not learn that lesson, right? Um, you're still going to be able to cycle the energies because you're balancing each other out a little bit, you know? Whereas, like, if you're completely balanced within yourself, know you're sovereign, like, married to your path, married to your soul, you know, then it's like, then that will come back to you on the outside, you know? That's when you like manifest someone else who is actually balanced. And then you guys can actually start to work together and like help each other through the movement of those energies with different fun ways. You know what I mean?
So I have to ask you, when you are in this flow state, like it just comes to you, like explain that feeling, like where, because you're just getting this creativity, these creative juices, you're just tapping into this etheric knowledge, like
Yeah.
that, then you're
Here,
just,
1 second, 1 second. Let me grab my phone charger and I'll be right back. And then
oh,
I'll
you're,
tell you. Yeah.
so I'll address some of these questions while we wait. If you're trying to follow him, you could probably, I don't know how lives really work, to be honest. This is my fourth live, but I think his image is at the very top, and you could probably just tap on his profile, and it should allow you to follow him because he has a lot of knowledge. I'm learning from him as well. These images are literally source, so he is tapping into that flow state and putting it right in your face and explaining how everything works. Oh man, let me see.
Okay. Okay. So flow state. So let me tell you just like how I've like I'm gonna go back real quick to remember how I said I stopped using a pen when I started to record the music and everything. So like more recently on my journey, I found myself in Sedona, Arizona, and got the opportunity. Like all, it was just perfectly aligned for me to like hop up on stage, and I felt like I didn't know what the fuck I was gonna sing, but there was a guy playing guitar, and it was amazing, and I felt words like wanted to come out and everything, and so I was like I had my neck I was next on the open mic, and I was like, yo, bro, can you just stay up here and like keep playing, and I'll just like freestyle. And then he's like, sure, you know, and I like tapped in, and it was like the whole experience is like, so the key is to be present, right? And then as you're present, you just listen. And I know that sounds weird, but you like listen and let go, and your body just does it. And it's like when I start singing like that, it's like I'm listening to it as well, just like everybody else. And like it's cool because like inside, it just brings me this immense joy. Like I love it. This is my favorite song I've ever heard. And, you know, like I can't. Oh, I'm so happy this is coming out of me right now. You know, like, and the more that I just focus on that, like, and being present with that, like, and enjoying it, the more that it's like, it just, you know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean, because it's just like it seems like when we as people, like everyone, we hear this voice in our head and it tells us to do something, but you don't want to seem like you're crazy. Like you just,
Right.
I feel like when you just listen to that voice, it can lead you to that flow state, like where it's just something's
It's
just
the still small voice, right?
right. I need you to do this. You're just like, why? Like, but as you do it, you feel like, oh, okay, like because something was telling me like just to interview people, and I was just like, why do I need to and I just started doing it, and I'm like, I'm learning a lot about me through these people, so like I'm going
Yeah,
to that voice, and something tells me to just write, and I just start writing, and then next thing you know, I create a video explaining what I was just
that's
told.
it.
So
That's it. Yep.
most
Uh-huh.
listening to that is getting into that flow state. Like most of the content that you see on my uh, TikTok or YouTube or whatnot, it's literally just me having a bunch of ideas and bunch of stuff just in my head that I just need to write down. And then once it's written down, I need to just make a video about it to get it out of my head. So it's just like that voice that's just talking to me that just says, talk about this. I
Hmm.
get in my head and then done. And then it's on to
Yeah.
the field. So
And
almost
that voice, it's always just so quick, right? It's like boom, and then it's gone. And it's like, and then when you act on it, that's when you're like, oh,
right.
like that's when you start to be more you. It's just like what I said, like with the best life manifesting by default when you're present and allowing yourself to flow through yourself, you know? Like
Right.
what is it? Why is goddamn a swear word, right? It's a goddamn. It's a damn. You know, it's stopping everything, like everything right here, and it gets all blocked up if you let it, right? But you can remove the damn, right? And then it will flow. You know what I
We
mean?
the English language spelling, like there's spells within the
Yeah,
language. Like you
go
look at
spell.
religion, it's witchcraft. Like it is all it's stuff that we don't pay attention to, and we just say it. And that's why
Hmm.
glad you I've been I when I tell people I understand and I explain them overstand, understand, understanding. When
Yeah,
people I understand, I'm like some of these topics you don't understand. If anything, you understand it. Like
yeah.
but you're
I like I don't like to say understanding anymore unless it's like, you know, truly authentically like I am, you know, like, but I feel like I have a great overstanding of everything. I'm always learning more and everything and understanding more, you know, like it's, but I guess it's just the cycle like we talked about too, you know, where we all have an understanding of certain things. We all have an understanding of certain things, and we all have an overstanding of certain things. And like it kind of goes through a cycle, just like everything else, through
Right.
that same cycle.
Yeah. So I'm just like with life in general. Like I know that I feel like as far as this spiritual journey, I'm still in the beginning stage of it. Like even though it seems like I have all this knowledge out of nowhere. I call it cosmic knowledge because I in school I wasn't the best. I didn't get the best grades, but it's like stuff just started making sense as I got older and as I started listening to my higher self, listening to that voice, where it's like, oh, I'm kind of starting to understand quantum physics. I don't know how I'm understanding it, but
Yeah.
but it's I'm starting to have it.
You already know it, right?
Yeah, and it's just like I compare it to things and it makes sense, and I'm like, okay, this makes sense this way. Like this is what
Hmm.
I mean. It's just like I think we somebody asked a question like my thoughts on like Earth school versus college or whatever, and
Hmm.
like for example, like Earth school is what you learn in life, what the lessons you're taught in life versus like college. Like you'll notice the difference between people who just go out and travel the world and have organic human experiences and you
Yeah.
come back like versus someone who just went to college and then they go into the workforce. They're literally closing themselves in a box and limiting themselves as opposed to that person who had like the money. They're like, oh, I could take this money and I can go to college. Or I can take this
Hmm.
money and I can explore the world and have experiences. And that
That's
person
what creates the pain, the pains, right? To box yourself in is what creates the pains.
and I think that's what's starting my journey because it's like I'm breaking out of that box. I'm in the process of creating my own matrix and breaking away, like being free and not
Hmm.
limiting my options. Because I think as we are kids, we're with school. You know, school is literally just shaping us to join the workforce. Your grades are a reflection for the workforce. This started back when, like, we were a factory driven society where the grades indicated, oh, this is how you're going to be. If you're going to be a good worker, the grades that you get in school will represent that. We condition our kids with the
Hmm.
school bell and recess. We condition
Hmm.
that bell for factory work. So that was just for that time period. But as you know now, like a college degree, unless you're going into a certain field, it means nothing now. Now,
Hmm.
what
Who
is
knows? Who knows where our entire like? Who knows where we're going to be in 5, 10 years, right?
right? But
It's
I know what is ideal is following your passion, following what you're creative in, and making your own path based off of what you're good at, and that's
yeah.
please your soul, and that's all we're
Hmm.
do is just please our soul. Your accolades don't matter. Money doesn't matter. It's about what are you doing to be a good human in this experience. That's what matters, and that's what you come here to learn. And that, my friend, for whoever asked that question, is Earth School versus college. Like, come here to learn and be a good human. And every religion almost preaches the same thing. Just here, do you.
Everything is a metaphor for it. Everything is a metaphor for it. Like the way that the colors are, like the way that the thing, like the reasons that we can only see the colors that we can see. Like it's all just us projecting outwardly so that we can see the reflection and then understand. You know?
Right. Like, I primary colors, like you think about it, like you're right, we can all see these colors, but we create new colors and
Hmm.
we're meant to continue to create
Yeah.
as what you are doing. Now, were you an artist from the jump? Like I see that you are music
Yeah.
talented
Yeah.
and
Yeah. I was like, I've been into music like forever. Like I would dance around in my mama's belly, and then I learned how to clap when I was 1 year old, and drum like pots and pans, drums up too, and then next thing you know, piano for 11 years, and then I self-taught guitar, and I became the section leader of my high school drum line, and I was also in the jazz band, and then I got into a bunch of indie bands, playing music, playing drums at the time, like all the while like just being called to sing, but like not being able to break through all the patterns that were holding my voice back, you know. And so like I went through a whole journey through music. Like I like walked around the one thing I wanted to do till I finally realized it, you know.
Yep.
And so
That,
I started like there was like while I was working in the government, there was I had anytime I had free time, I was like watching videos on how to produce music as well. And so like my stuff's like it sounds really amazing. I am just starting to like kind of share it, you know. I'm just starting to like talk about these experiences and everything too. Like this is probably the most public setting that I've ever talked about like any of this stuff right here. Like the most people in front, you know, like at one time. Other than this, like I've only told a few people. I'm like that's why I was like I felt the alignment and source flow to like, yo, let's chat, bro. You know?
yep.
Yeah. Hmm? Oh man. You want me to go get it for you in a little bit? Okay. Oh, not right now. Because I'm right here.
I'm not gonna hold you up for too much longer, but I do
Oh,
agree.
for sure. No, it's not holding me. We're good. Yeah, but yeah, I feel you though.
There,
It's been a great conversation.
yeah, you carried it. You got 3,000 people that like your message. Like, so I definitely think this was a form of divine timing because I posted that video and I was just like, what am I about to do right now? And then you
Dude,
hit,
just before you were like, you want to go live? I was like, I was just thinking like, man, I've been putting like I've literally been like I've been posting this stuff now. You know, like and it's kind of it was scary to post it a little bit cuz like dude, chill and I'll get it, okay? But it was feeling like kind of scary to like say it, you know, because I'm still leaning into those fears. I'm still leaning into them too, you know, like, and I still light up more and expand, you know, like that's what we're all doing. And yeah, so one of the other things too I wanted to mention to you is like, have you ever looked into spiral dynamics?
I have not, to be honest.
Okay, so maybe we should like I'd love to talk more about that with you if we like maybe shot each other a few videos and did a little like I want to do some brush up on it, but like some of the stuff you're talking about, like there's some really cool things with society, right? So basically just a quick little like what it is like we started out like say like cavemen, right? And it was like in this very like every person for themselves kind of situation. And then they discovered like all the dangers of everything else and they're like, oh, we need to like be with each other so that we can be safe, right? And so it goes to community. But then it goes to like the workforce and everything like that, where it's like more of a everybody's an entrepreneur type thing. And everybody goes through these micro cycles where they flip flop back and forth between like more of a self-centered and more of a collective centered. And it's like just like the natural contraction and expansion. You know what I mean? And like what I'm seeing is like we're getting to this like green area where like everyone's kind of like going vegan. Like the green area is like coming back to the earth and integrating like the entrepreneur like mindset, but like in a communal setting, and like starting to focus on like what the earth needs and like working on that together. But like after that it goes into yellow and then it expands into like enlightenment, and this is where they say that like Jesus would have gotten to basically within his own self. But it's a very interesting thing and it goes up a bunch of different levels. Right after yellow is like one more level, and it would be really interesting to get into those upper tier levels with you because I feel like you have a great understanding of all the knowledge, and I feel like I do too, and could make some really great conversation.
you definitely draw it out a lot better than I would. So like I don't I just like I said, I just stumble like I hear stuff and then I just speak it and then I just make a video on it. So that's how it comes to me. And lately
Yeah,
I've had those thoughts in a while. I just what I'm being told right now, hence why I'm not really on social media as much and I'm not producing as much content, is just to listen to others and learn about myself as well. And
Dude, see, it's just like that same cycle, right? You're going back to the inward, right? And then you get to integrate the inward into the outward, right? And then we go back inward, right? You know,
all right.
it's the spiral dynamic of life where we, yeah,
So
or,
I'm a
yeah,
I'm gonna let you get back to being a dad. I'm gonna head,
word.
and it was great talking to you. I appreciate this conversation. Thank you. I'm so glad you decided to open up. This was an amazing
Yeah.
conversation, and you had a lot of people that loved what you said. And I'm glad you're now starting to put this content out because this is what I feel like was meant for you to do. So,
I'm grateful for your words, brother. Yeah. And grateful for your heart to share and like all the content that you put out as well. And grateful for everybody here listening. I really appreciate your time and your energy. And if there's one thing that I would say, like, that you could start doing to like dial more into who you are, is like just think of like one little thing that you're maybe afraid to do, and like lean into it and do it. Or if you want to like rewire your brain a little bit, I have one tip that I'm feeling called to share is like just go and drive around town, but drive like a different direction that you don't normally go. Because that when we I've noticed like in my own experience just driving around, it can help you to break out of old patterns when you're constantly allowing a new pattern on the external, right? Because the external is just like the reflection of the internal, you know.
all right,
So
that perfect sense. I did have this calling to start drawing, and I'm not that much of an artist, but I feel like I through time I'll become better.
yes, do it. I would love to see what you got. What comes through when you're present.
Yes, it does. Well, good.
Yeah,
Take care.
yeah.
Fun. I enjoyed this live. I'll be looking forward to your video.
Awesome.
All right, bro.
Yeah. Peace and love and light and sound, brother.
Take care.